My first recollection of Salvador Dali was in the copy of Life, and I remember opening it and looking suddenly at these marvelous pictures that contained things that I'd never conceived before. They were completely new to me, and I was fascinated by it.
Dali liked things that he called objective chance, and it was just by chance that we sat next to each other at the symphony concert. We were absolutely astonished to see these amazing paintings, the deep perspective, the strange landscapes, the beautiful colors, and the draftsmanship. We knew then that Dali was a genius.
Well, it's called Daddy Longlegs of the Evening Hope. About a day later or so, he called me back, and he said, Mr. Morse, you know, this Dali loves to frame his own pictures. The picture arrived with the frame on it, and the frame was, I recall it, $1,850, which was more than the painting.
In 1942, we bought this painting. Today, it's not surprising to any of us because we're used to very shocking things. But imagine the impact that this painting had on people in 1942, especially on my father. When we brought it home to Cleveland, he thought that we had taken leave of our senses, and he was very afraid that he would end up by having to support us if we wasted our money on such foolish art. We did not spend our money buying expensive cars or clothing, and we just concentrated all our money on Dali. And we never regretted it because we loved him so.
So we ended up not with a surrealist collection that we kind of started out to do. We ended up with a Dali collection, and nothing by Dali.
But we never thought of them as investments when we bought them because we liked them so much that we just really couldn't do without the painting.
He was already pretty well known, and when we met him, he looked just like we thought he would. I asked him why he didn't have any children, and he said, one Dali in the world is enough.
When we were with him, it was always a wonderful time, and he had such a great sense of humor. We were always laughing.
It was always fun being with him. We never had a visit with him that wasn't really a great adventure. We went to Rome with the Dalis and went to Port Legat for the first time in our lives in 1954.
We also found out that the backgrounds in Dali's paintings were not from his imagination or from a dream. They were from the landscape around his house. This was a place that this child had explored as a little boy, because his family went there every summer to stay.
I remember one time in the Hotel Port Legat early on, and I saw a light come on the ceiling of our room. I got up and I saw Dali come into the studio, stand there and look at this painting for about a half an hour. He reached over and he took the one brush, made one stroke, put the brush back down, turned out the light and went out. He did work hard, he knew what he was doing, and he thought about it a lot.
He was in New York, needed some pencils. They handed him a box of Venus pencils. The trademark was the Venus de Milo on the cover. And Dali took one look at that, and he said, "There is me next painting." Instead of just seeing the Venus de Milo as we do, he saw the head of a toreador emerging from the Venus de Milo.
He elaborated on this Paranoiac-critical method of how he would just be going to sleep or just waking up, and at that point he could go into his mind and get something that was absolutely new. So he painted these things for which there were no labels. And this is the big problem, I think, with Dali in the world of art today, and his role is that the things he painted, the critics had no words for. And I gave a talk on Dali, in front of Dali. And that, I think, was the most traumatic experience any person that's in art could ever have, because I know damn well that nobody ever made a speech on Matisse in front of Matisse. Taught me a lesson, as I say. If every art critic had to do that in front of every artist he was going to criticize, he would certainly change his way of looking at art. And that taught me to respect Dali more, I think, than any single episode in my life.
He was like an iceberg. 9/10 of everything was below the surface.
But he also didn't take it too seriously.
He did a whole book, Dali's Mustache. And the last page says, I'm not so crazy. The one who paid $1 for this book is crazy.
One of the things I learned early on was that Dali was Dali, and nobody can steal his thunder. You cannot out-Dali Dali. And we've watched people over the years think that they can do it better than Dali, but that's not true. They cannot do it. He was a genius, and he was making his own image, and he knew what he was doing. Dali's precious pictures must be preserved so that we could share it with the public. We felt that it was more important to keep the collection together because it did show a panorama of Dali's art. Picasso painted 38,000, Dali painted around 2,000. They are irreplaceable. If we lose it, it's gone forever. The Dali adventure is something that is ongoing, and I feel that in Mr. Dali's ideas, perhaps we can revitalize and point the way to the future.